Alright, if you're doing plyometrics but your vertical still sucks, congrats, you've been lied to. But don't worry, today I'm going to show you how to actually use plyometrics to build real bounce and not just burn out your legs for no reason. And we're going to break down a method I refined after years of testing, one that actually translates into dunking multiple times a week without feeling cooked. So most athletes and even a lot of coaches completely underutilize plyometrics or flat out do them wrong. They either treat plyos like a random burnout workout or avoid them altogether. No structure, no real progression, and then they wonder why their knees hate them and their vertical hasn't budged in months. Here's the deal, plyos aren't just about jumping a lot, they're about refining your stretch shortening cycle. Your muscles need to store and release energy like a damn slingshot, not just slow like a sad trampoline. Over the years, I've learned a lot from a lot of different approaches, including plus plyos developed by Matt McInnes. But instead of just copying and pasting, I've applied these methods in a way that actually complements dunking multiple times a week. The goal isn't just to get springy in a workout, it's to stay springy when you actually need it. So there's 4 main tiers of plyometrics. Fourth one is questionable whether it's actually a plyometric or not because the ground contact times and the movements are a little bit slow, but the first 3 are definitely plyometric. So the first one is your lighter tier plyometrics. These are your fundamental moves. Think ankle bounces, low-level hopping drills. They build reactive ability without frying your joints and your nervous system. These are more about building volume than anything else. So if you're a basketball player and you're already playing a lot of basketball, you want to keep these on the lower side of things. However, if you're a dunker, you definitely need to get more volume in your training. So I'd put more of an emphasis on the lighter tier. The second tier is medium tier plyometrics. So these are not yet maximal. However, they're there to bridge the gap between the lighter tier plyometrics and then the ping tier. The main emphasis of these as well is to build efficiency in the stretch shortening cycle and build rhythm and coordination. So because these are still submaximal, like the lighter tier, you want to have a good amount of variety in the movements and ensure you're performing them in a relaxed state, not trying to muscle your way through them too much. So moving on to the ping tier, here's where the magic happens. These are max effort movements with minimal ground contact time. Think depth jumps, drop jumps, and stuff that makes you truly reactive and springy. And since dunking itself is 100% intensity, if you're dunking a lot, you probably don't need to go crazy in terms of the volume here. It's all about quality and execution. Basketball players will benefit from more of these as they're already getting a lot of volume in their sport, so more of the focus of their training needs to be on intensity. Lastly, you have the deep tier plyometrics. These involve a longer range of motion, typically more joint flexion and a longer ground contact time. Technically, these aren't plyometrics because of the longer ground contact time. The main benefit of these is yielding and accepting force, or more specifically, building eccentric strength through longer muscle lengths, both crucial for performance and injury prevention. However, if you got any sort of knee pain, you want to be careful of this one, as this can be quite aggravating to the tendon. Alright, so here's the deal. Plyos are all about quality over quantity. If your jumps are starting to look like a toddler's first attempt at jumping rope, you're just wasting your time, man. For lighter and medium tier plyos, think 3 to 5 sets of 5 to 10 reps, focus on rhythm, control, and energy return. Don't make the mistake of turning these into a circus act. Keep it smooth and controlled like you actually know what you're doing. For the ping tier plyos, you're going to want max intent. So think 3 to 4 sets of 3 to 5 reps. Not just, oh, I'll sort of do this and put a little bit of effort into it and not really try your hardest. Don't bitch out on these, give everything you've got. The second you start losing bounce, stop. You're not a trampoline, you're a human. Also, please don't mess up your rest times. Quick ground contact plyos like ankle bounces or pogos, you only need about 30 to 45 seconds of rest, but just enough to ensure you don't end up puffed out like you just ran a marathon. But for the max effort plyos like the depth jumps and ping tier plyos, give yourself 2 to 3 minutes to recharge and let your body regroup. Don't try to push it like you're in the middle of a CrossFit competition, please, man. And if your legs feel like they have bags of sand tied to them all the time, you're probably overdoing it. Fatigue is a sneaky little thing that hides gains better than a magician. Manage your load, recover like you're not secretly training for the Ironman, and train smart. There's no medal for being sore all the time, except maybe a future trip to the physio. So this is how you should be implementing plyometrics to jump higher. If you're focusing more on dunking, emphasize more volume, lighter tier tier plyometrics or even medium tier plyometrics into your training because you're already getting a lot of intensity when you go out to dunk. If you're a basketball player, you need to put more emphasis on intensity because you're already getting so many submaximal contacts through the sport. So you need to fill the gaps with your training. For myself back in the day, I was actually pretty strong when I first started dunking. However, I was very slow and couldn't produce force fast, and my stretch shortening cycle was lacking hard. So incorporating plyometrics correctly was definitely a game changer for me. It was a big part of how I went from a 20-inch-ish vertical to a 40 plus on my best days. It allowed my strength training to carry over into jumping far more effectively and get me bouncing off the ground far more quickly. However, remember guys, plyometrics are not a magic cure. You have to integrate them into your training correctly for them to work, and also not get injured and start developing tendon issues like jumper's knee and Achilles tendinopathy. Okay, so my last point is you never want to make plyometrics number one. You always want to keep the main thing the main thing. So you want to ensure you're still making dunking and jumping your top priority, and the plyometrics should always complement this and not take over. Otherwise, you're just going to end up being really good at plyometrics and shit at dunking. So don't be that guy just spamming TikTok and Instagram plyo workouts because that's a fast track to get injured and to get nowhere. You also don't want to be that guy that never implements them and just says, hey, I just need to jump and get stronger. Sure, this might work for those that are more genetically blessed. However, if you're like me and you're on the slower side of things and can't produce force rapidly and have a huge deficit in your reactive strength capabilities or your stretch shortening cycle, plyometrics can absolutely be a game changer for you when implemented the right way. So stop wasting your time with garbage plyo routines. Try and implement these strategies, and in a few weeks, you'll be feeling bouncer, you'll be feeling faster and actually seeing results. So if you guys found this video helpful and you like this video, please leave a like down below and subscribe if you want to see more. It really helps me know whether I should keep making videos like this or not, and I'll see you guys in the next video.